Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This is Mustafa from Cloud Roads. Today, I want to share with you the 10 steps to navigate your cloud native journey. Let's get started. A good place to start is the CNCF Cloud Native Landscape. This is a chart, as you can see, that has all the open source players, cloud providers, as well as commercial vendors under one umbrella. That will help you understand when it's time to pick a technology that's in line with your vision and strategy, and help you understand any new developments in the landscape. At the same time, it confuses you and it might be overwhelming because the choices are huge and you might not be able to understand what is going on in each and different aspect of the cloud native journey. The CNCF realized that and they came up with what's called the CNCF trail map, which helps you understand navigate the cloud native your cloud native journey in a step-by-step kind of journey. So when we zoom in here, we see the first step is containerization. That's making sure you are able to take your applications and put it in an application container and then hence run it and move it between different cloud providers. Without containerizing your app, there is no benefits of having cloud native, since cloud native apps are containerized apps. The second step would be CI/CD. That's making sure you have an assembly line for your software distribution. With containers, you'll be able to release much faster and hence reduce your time to market in terms of feature, fixing bugs, and whatnot. And CI/CD is going to be of paramount importance because you're going to be releasing a lot of software, and without that automation, end-to-end is going to be much, much harder. That's the whole point of it. An assembly line, it doesn't really matter what underlying technology you use. The third step moving on is going to be orchestration, application definition. With you releasing lots of containers, you're going to reach a point that you're going to be managing many of those containers. Could be 100, could be 1,000, and it's going to be much harder for you to be able to manage those at runtime and be full tolerance and response to scalability and all those requirements. And orchestration will come into play to be able to help you manage the life cycle of container from its creation to its termination, and be able to scale it while it's making sure it's secure, it's observable, it's routable, and all those. The fourth step is moving on is going to be observability and analysis, and that's making sure you have three things in place. You have monitoring for the infrastructure and applications. You have logging to be able to understand what happened when and the chain of events associated with that. And you have some sort of observability, meaning you're able to trace when things happen, where they happen. Moving on was going to be the service proxy, and that is your ability to be able to gain more control and monitor your applications in a uniform fashion. Moving on is networking policy and security. Those cloud native applications are going to need to communicate with each other at some point, and you want to make sure you have a zero trust networking in your cluster or your platform to make sure application A is not connected to application Z when they don't need to. With using something like Open Policy Agent and CNI, you'll be able to limit that while providing networking capabilities between the different applications. Usually you start your journey with the stateless applications and you move to stateful applications, and as they are harder to containerize and operate in cloud native. So when you get to that point, you're going to be looking for solutions to handle your storage, and that's in terms of a storage plugin. Whatever storage appliance you're using is going to help you abstract your storage in a programmable API-based fashion that you can submit a request, you get the storage, and you're able to use the storage. Or you can run your enterprise database your distributed database in a cloud native fashion. Moving on, you will be, as cloud native applications are distributed systems in nature, and they're going to be communicating a lot. You might be looking for higher performance, as each and every millisecond is going to count with large number of communications. So you're going to be looking at different alternatives to the typical JSON REST API architectural application. So some of the alternatives are gRPC or NATS. Those will provide you with a framework for communication between different applications in a much higher performance way. After you generate a whole bunch of containers, you're going to be looking at the runtime. Let's say if you started with Docker as the runtime and you want to reassess, shall I go with another one? And you might be looking at having a container registry to be able to centralize your software distribution, basically, and maybe host it on-prem or on a particular cloud. There are a few options here. Creo is one of the runtimes. Harbor is a container registry. Containerd is another runtime, and there are other alternatives as well, depending on your requirements and your environment. And lastly, your software distribution. If you want to ensure trusted software distribution end-to-end in your environment, you're going to be looking at projects like Notary, that is implementing the TUF framework, which is making sure that the container elements or contents are signed and hasn't been tampered with from the time you publish that until the time you consume the same container. So there you have it. The journey starts with containerization, CI/CD, and then orchestration. Those two steps are very important and essential, I would say, for any enterprise project. And when I say project, that means at some point you're going to be moving to production with cloud native. It's not like a small experiment or POC. If you're serious about this and going to production, I would think you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Not particularly that order. You can skip service mesh for now until you have a decent cluster with many containers. And depending on the sizing of it, you're going to be looking at other solutions. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the 10 steps to your cloud native journey. And please let me know if I can be of any help. Thanks again.